This is horrible though, off the back rail. Yeah, it was a horrible shot. 9-ball pool players are so used to potting balls in the bigger corner pockets. So whenever they've got one in the middle, you always feel like it's a bit of a weakness. This is obviously table 2 action that we are watching. I think the players are just warming up on the other table. We will be joining the other table.
Yeah, before we go over there, I must congratulate you on a fantastic performance against Konrad Yuzhushin. So, scalps claimed thus far at the Scottish Open and now here. The likes of Jonas Suter Camino, Albin Auschen, and now Konrad Yuzhushin. That is a really good hat-trick.
Yeah, obviously me and Michael spoke about it in the previous match, so I know we won't harp on about it. But what was quite funny is, Phil, when I come from the table back over to our commentary area, as you know, you have to walk through the arena. And as I was walking through, David Alcady was stood with Jonas, and they were both saying, no, back to commentary for you.
You don't just talk a good game. We will keep you right up to date with table 2, of course, with how Pia Filler progresses. Now, though, it is match 5. Second round action. Mohammad Soufi against Sam Henderson. We know Soufi can be inspirational. I think it's fair to say Henderson, given his tender years, has to be regarded as a real prospect. He's from Iowa, the great state of Iowa. Was a student at Pleasant Valley High School there.
Do you know what, Phil? I'm looking forward to this match. We know Soufi got to the World 9-ball final. He has an absolute game of flair. Cue's very bizarre, if that's the right word. You'll get to see it in a minute, but he goes for his shots. But this young man, the whole of America are talking about him, and I've never seen him play, Phil. Well, he can certainly break. That was straight out of the Francisco Sanchez Ruiz textbook. What a break to start this match.
Well, if you're watching this in America, I think you'll be proud of what you see. He beat Diogo Suarez in the first match here today to set up this contest.
And another good opening pot for the young man. What age did you say he was, Phil? Do we have that information?
17.
We'll do 17. Wow, world at his feet. There you see, he's a World 9-ball tour professional. 128 players signed before this season. So if you've got one of them logos on your shirt, you are one of 128. And that is basically all about making the game more professional. Having one tour, the World 9-ball Tour. A ton of events worldwide, from smaller events to medium-sized events to these big open events. And whatever you win on the tour, basically the prize money changes to ranking points, and that's how you get your ranking. The higher ranked you are, the more rewards you will get. You'll get invited to the World Pool Masters that we've just had. Top 14 ranked players play in the World Pool Masters, along with 2 wild cards and World Cups of Pools and Mosconi Cups. Now this year we've got the Reyes Cup. It's all going on at the minute.
It's only a handful of pots, but he doesn't look intimidated by occasion or opponent. Absolutely not. Looks right at home at their centre stage.
Got to get the job finished, though. We see this a lot, don't we? Player can start off very well in rack 1. All of a sudden a miss comes from nowhere, and they kind of like curl up into a ball. So this will give us a good look of his cue action, actually. Let's have a look. Oh, there you see. Very, very straight. Well, Phil, I'm impressed. So far, so good. Hits a nice clean ball. Feels he's landed straight here. He's got a bit of an angle. He might have to play for the 8-ball in the bottom right corner, or he's looking at stopping the cue ball there and then playing a thin one, but the cue ball's got to travel. That might be the wise move. So cue ball will be travelling here. Well, this looks fine. Well, this is an impressive start. It really is. And I can see why America are praising Sam Henderson. I know it's only one rack, but what a rack it is.
That was a statement, if ever there was one. Sam Henderson, all the way from Iowa in the Midwest, takes the opener impressively.
Well, he's only played one rack and I'd put him in the USA team, Phil.
Yeah, didn't take you long, did it, to start off the Mosconi Cup baiting. You have to believe, though, given his skill, given his dedication, and also given his desire, Mosconi Cup might well be in this young man's future. I know it's only one rack. I can hear you thinking I'm being premature, and maybe I am, but he certainly looks as though he's got the credentials. His middle name is Rhyne, R-Y-N-E, and his nickname is Rhino, after the famous Ryne Sandberg, who played second base in the major leagues, best known, of course, for being a hero at Wrigley Field in the Chicago Cubs. And it's been said that when his opponent misses, he charges to the table like a rhino. Well, he certainly looks as though he's got the game and the potential to be one of Poole's big beasts.
Well, back-to-back 1-balls on the break. 8-ball's going to spoil the party for Rhino here in rack 2. He's going to be kicking at this or playing the push. Playing the kick. I think he's trying to come across the top side of it, get the cue ball over to the bottom right hand side. Well, he's played this wonderful. I tell you what, he has played this absolutely spot on. And I tell you what he's done here, Phil. He's sent a message to Camp Soufi. Soufi will have seen the break shot. He'll have seen the way he got around the table to clear the table. He'll know he's a good, solid player.
That has worked out very nicely indeed from Soufi's perspective. An extra roll on the cue ball, and he might well have been tucked directly in behind the brown 7. Turning the tables anyway.
Yeah, talking about turning the tables, me and Michael were talking about the Soufi-Copigny match. Soufi won the opening 2 racks. That match is now 6-3, but it's 6-3 to
much like Soufi beforehand. Henderson can't complain. Soufi was given a tough workout in his opening contest today. Came through 9-7 against Lin Tsung Han.
Good speed control there from Soufi. What a fairy tale week that was in Poland, the World 9-Ball Championships. He just kind of felt like he just come out of nowhere, and just the way he played, Phil, he really lit up the event with his unique style.
Yeah, he's a 30-year-old from Latakia, which is Syria's principal port city. But when the civil war erupted over there, he was one of many who left. He's now based in Germany, and his story, well, it's emotional, it's inspiring, harrowing. A jump shot that did not work, and which has completely opened the table. Yes, when he got to the final of the World 9-Ball, Soufi, he was potting them from everywhere. Had a little bit of luck involved as well, a liberal helping in his quarter-final victory over Albin Auschen. Then he beat Wu Kunlin in the semi-finals before succumbing 13-10 to Francisco Sanchez Ruiz in the title match.
He will not hang about as well. Very easy on the eye. Sometimes though that can catch him out, because it's caught him out a little bit there. Now he'll have to play this hard. Yeah, he was okay. I thought it landed a bit too straight.
Unconventional but effective cue action. The back arm is not exactly straight, is it? Juts out.
Yeah, it's very much like the German legend Oliver Ortmann.
And that's how he runs through a rack at the speed of light. Mohammad Soufi, just like that, back on level terms. It's 1-1. By the way, the winner of this contest in winners' qualification will take on either Abdullah Al Yusuf, who's a good friend of Soufi's actually, or Babkin Melkonyan. Right now, Al Yusuf leading 7-6. When we did the story on Soufi for Billiards Digest and his backstory became known to the world, yes, he sat down and spoke with me, but his English wasn't absolutely out of the top drawer, and so he asked if Abdullah Al Yusuf could be his interpreter, and Abdullah did a fine job. Terrific gentleman, and yet after that they could be playing each other here.
Just worried about the cue ball, isn't he? He could pot the pink 4 with the cue ball, but he's got to try and dress the 2 ball up for the next shot. And he hasn't done that.
Soufi yet to recapture the magic of his World 9-Ball Week in Poland. He did win a tournament in Estonia last year on the back of what he did at the World Championship, quite correctly. He made his debut at the World Masters and the World Cup. As for this tournament, he was beaten in the last 64.
Good effort. Obviously had to avoid the side pocket to come back over for the 3-ball. A lot of players might have gone forward with the cue ball then. Sam chose to come back.
One of the symptoms of nervousness is negative thoughts. When you play at the speed Soufi adopts, negative thoughts don't have time to creep in. That super quick rhythm, so reminiscent of Tony Drago.
Yeah, it's good to watch, isn't it? Let's not be naive. As soon as the cue ball stops, he's down on the shot. But now and again, mistakes will come in because of that. He has the ability to blow you off the table.
And if he does get to the weekend, for him, a 30-second shot clock will not be an imposition at all. Now some extraordinary scores to give you. Top of the list from Norway, Mikkel Aagaard is leading Ko Ping Chung, the US Open champion, 5-2. Ko has just won rack 7, so it was 5-1 to the Norwegian. Antonis Brabin, also known as Anthony from Cyprus, he's leading Max Lechner 5-4. Mario He having no problems against George Antonakis, 6-0 up. Viktor Zielinski being held to 5-5 by Phil Burford. Some really interesting matches going on around this arena, which houses 26 tables. And Tom Staveley from here in the UK finds himself 4-3 up on the Mexican Open champion, Jonas Suter Camino.
Well, he had a keen eye on the cue ball. It was going towards the side pocket. This might give us an idea if it was going to fall in the pocket. Maybe it just was going to until it hit the green 6. This is very thin in the left middle. In fact, I don't think it's cuttable. He's going to bank it across and try and get the cue ball in behind the pink 4.
Just going to ask you a question about yourself, Carl. Do you think it's a help that you're now in the commentary box, not having to think about your next match? And also, do you think over the years since you've been, quote, retired, watching pool and watching a variety of different players has helped your own game?
Yeah, I think definitely commentating on the world's greatest players and, you know, doing a lot of matches with Jeremy where he gives you his insight into the match. I feel like I've never watched as much pool. Obviously, when you're playing for a living, when you win a match, you'd just leave the venue, wouldn't you? You wouldn't be watching it on telly. You'd probably go and have some food. So I definitely think, like, I've learned a lot more, but the touch and the feel is way off. That's where the practice, and not so much just the practice, but it's playing in a lot of tournaments, because nothing beats playing in a tournament and winning matches. Look at this for a shot, by the way.
That is Soufi all over. Signature Soufi.
He definitely plays his own style. It's a great style to watch. But Phil, now and again, he will throw a silly miss in.
Again, like the player I compared him to, Tony Drago. That's the other great thing about watching Soufi. He's totally unpredictable, either one way or the other. He can be brilliant, and as he's just done there, he can make a howler.
Cue ball's going to find itself on the rail, so it's a little test up. Obviously, he can only hit the top side of the cue ball. Key to this shot: stay very still.
And staying still when you're his age, when you've got no scar tissue, is easier than when you've been around the block a few times. Henderson was very still on the shot, and he's still very much in the match. It's 2-2. Some other scores for you. Daniel Guttenberg, 5-2 up on Cho Chia Chin. Sioa, 3-0 up on Paul Taylor. Abdullah Al Yusuf and Babkin Melkonyan. Melkonyan, who beat Jeremy Jones in the first round. They're locked together at 7-7. Ko Ping Han, the junior of the three Ko brothers, 5-2 up on Imran Majid. Pia Filler, if you want to see that match, by the way, over on Table 2, just a reminder, it's available on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel. She's now 6-5 up on Chris Watana. Hong Kong's Robbie Capito going nicely against Kuo Po Cheng, leading 7-2.
Maybe he can get to the potting angle. He can, because he's come round to have a look at the combo. He's going to play the cue ball 2 rails into the centre area of the table. That would leave the blue 2 onto the purple 5. He didn't get the cue ball where he wanted. Good pot though.
I must say, Carl, I like what I see. Obviously, he's got plenty to learn. But what's also obvious, the fundamentals are there.
Yeah, often the younger players sometimes make the wrong decisions in matches. I've seen that with young Bernie Regalario in the last match against Chua. Oh, that's not the best safety, is it? I'm not saying he can pot it, but well, he's down quick, but he can certainly jump over the edge. Big mistake here from young Sam. Oh wow, he'll be devastated with that one. Mohamed's just asking for the cue ball to be clean. That will mean where he's hitting the cue ball is probably a big dollop of chalk. After missing the 8 ball in the previous rack, usually the next rack, once you get back to the table, you just slow down a little bit, and I think Mohammad has done.
And then, again, the error is there for all to see. A 7-ball he should have gobbled up is missed.
Back-to-back misses at the end of the rack.
The only positive about that shot is that the 7-ball didn't run on.
It's a fine shot he's played there. As the cue ball was coming along the bottom rail there, Phil, I actually thought, I never thought it would scratch, but on some of the tables over the years, that might have scratched.
Undoubtedly. Now, because of that flying elbow on his back arm, even when he was doing so well at the World Championship, I thought that he wasn't the best jumper, Soufi. Reasonable.
Can't stress the difference on this shot that Sam's got. If you're playing on a regular club table or some of the tables over the years we've seen on TV, this shot is unmissable. You can fly this round the table without any pressure. Now on here, this is a different ball game. He's got to find the middle of the pocket. He's got to play it with pace, because look where he's aiming on the cue ball. He's trying to rip this in. Oh, he's hit this good. He has hit this good. Wonderful shot, wonderful pot.
He comes with a reputation, does Sam Henderson, and I think it's well merited. There it is. Soufi missed the 7-ball just as he missed the 8 in the previous rack, and that's why Sam Henderson is back in front for the first time since 1-0. It's now 3-2. Can tell you Ko Ping Chung might be on the comeback trail against Mikael Ødegaard. It was 5-1 to the Norwegian, now it's 5-3. And Thomas Brabin 7-4 up on Max Lechner. Never underestimate Brabin. Mario He 7-1 over George Antonakis. Clint Jansen 5-2 up on Francesco Candela. Victor Zielinski and Phil Burford are going at each other in a right royal battle. It's 6-6. Robbie Capito 7-3 over Kuo Po Cheng. We saw Win Antoine on the main table earlier. Well, he's 5-4 up in his second match of the day against Jeremy Sosi.
Two from two on the break. Make that 3 from 3.
Keeps breaking like this, they'll be calling him Slamming Sam.
from that angle, it looks like the 2-ball pots past the 9, but it can't do. Or can it? Well, it does. Just his body language, as if this I've been a bit unlucky. It doesn't pot, but it does pot. And the 4-ball pots as well. What's up with you, Sam? Come on.
Maybe raising expectations of his opponent, giving false hope.
Yeah, I'm sure he was looking at the green 6. He knows he's got work to do here. Can he go forward off the top rail and just above the right centre middle pocket and then crash into the 2 balls?
He knew where that cue ball was going to come to rest. Maybe a couple of feet before it did. Valiant effort. Now he can't be too cute here. Can't play too precisely because there's always the chance he would hit the 8-ball first. Conversely, doesn't want to throw himself too wide and miss the green 6 completely. But leaving the green 6 in mid-table, not what he wanted either. Mind you, after missing the 8-ball in the rack to 2-2 and then the 7-ball in the rack that took Henderson 3-2 ahead, Soufi might be lacking a little confidence at the moment.
Yeah, I think if you're struggling, you should play this in the right centre pocket. Even if it's very thin, you've got more chance of potting it in the middle. Well, everyone else in the room has, but since Mohammad Soufi has missed them couple of easy balls, he's getting put through the mill here. Wasn't that thin? Sam's got to kick on from here, though. You know, if you've got to beat these type of players, the named players. You know, I'm not saying Soufi's top tier, because he isn't. Let's not be naive. He had a fantastic World Championships and nearly won it, losing in the final. But since then, Phil, unfortunately, he's not really been seen a lot, has he? He's not really been at some of the events.
No, and I think the reason is what we're seeing here. There's 2 Mohammad Soufis, excellent and erratic, and you need consistency.
He's looking at one rail here. I believe 2 rails a lot of the pros would go. He's going 1 and he's missed it.
In so doing, handing the rack on a plate. Henderson 4 pots away from doubling up on Mohammad Soufi.
Yeah, the scoreline could easily be 4 racks to 1. Just with the chances, not because Sam's played bad, he hasn't, but just the chances that his opponents had at the table.
Very nicely done. Sweetly cued with deep screw and reverse side. Reverse English. Sam Henderson, 4-2 ahead. For many a year now, the USA has been looking for a bright new star of pool. Hundreds of hours to go before that in competition. Thousands of frames. But the signs are good for this teenager from Iowa. Very good indeed. Sioa in a one-loss side match against Paul Taylor leads 5-0. She's doing well. Abdullah Al-Yusuf and Babkin Melkonyan 7-7. A real marathon that. Melkonyan not the quickest player out there. Daniel Guttenberg 6-2 up on Shea-Chia Chin. Petra Urban 4-3 on Aidan Finch. It's 7-4 for Steve Ellis over Quinton Pongers. That means Ellis is on the hill because that's a one-loss side match as well. Race to 8. Jonas Suter Camino and Tom Stavely 5-5. And Lucas Fracasso Werner 5-1 up on the New Zealander Sullivan Clark. Also on the hill, Ko Pin Yi 8-4 up on So Shaw. This time the one did not disappear, Cole.
No, we've seen it over the last couple of seasons. You're not guaranteed to keep potting the one ball. It's actually quite a difficult break shot. At least he didn't leave a pot. Well, Phil, I don't know if the 6 ball will go. It looks like it's hitting into that top rail. It's very close, isn't it? The problem is, because he's playing the jump shot, the cue ball will be moving quite fast, so at pace, the 6 may rattle. But he doesn't have to go for this. If he feels like the 6 won't go, he could maybe try and tie something up, you know, Phil. He could try and roll the 2 onto the 8 ball, so that makes the 2 ball dead. He could flick the purple 4 towards the pink 4 towards the purple 5, sorry. Tie that up. You don't always have to go for it.
Maybe he's battling here against the impetuosity of youth. All in all, not a bad outcome.
Where's the cue ball? Where is the cue ball?
This is the way that Soufi plays, but you still have to say these words. This is loose. It just is loose. It's terrific when everything's flowing, Cole. He's one of the most attractive players in the world to watch. But when he's not on, and he's making mistakes, then he becomes highly vulnerable.
Yeah, and as a player, you've got to sit in your chair and recognise what is going on. Needs to get past the 8 ball here. Needs to get past the 8 ball. just I was just saying, Phil, you have to recognise what's going on at the table, and yet when your opponent's struggling, it's really important you try and punish their mistakes. He had quite a big gap to land over on that right hand side of the table, did Sam? Because if you look where the 9 ball is and the 8 ball, look at all the space he had to land there. How can Mohammad kick on? Got off to a great start in this match. Since then, it's been pretty woeful.
Yes, he tucked away the second rack very nicely. He's missing all sorts.
Yeah, this is very worrying now when you're missing them. He's missed 3 or 4 easy balls in this match, and it's only 4-2. Is he playing the bank shot? He is. Nicely done. Good cue ball control as well there. Beautiful control bank there. Really am liking what I see, Phil. I know we've said it already, but just continues to keep impressing.
He clearly loves the game. He's enthused by it. And being out here on the main table in front of the TV cameras, playing a former World Championship runner-up, if that doesn't get the juices flowing, nothing will. But sometimes players of Henderson's vintage are overawed by the situation. He's not, but playing that kind of shot at that pace down the rails, you have to be bob on.
Yeah, he just caught the rail at pace, and they stay over the pocket. Watch out, cue ball. Watch out, cue ball. Look at this. This is incredible.
Not only has he scratched, he's also conceded the rack in abject disgust. Sam Henderson can't quite believe this. It's not always this easy, young man. But Mohammad Soufi is, to be frank, having a nightmare, and he trails by 5 racks to 2.
Yeah, over on table 2, I think that match is over. You can just see the players packing up, and I believe it was Pia Filler who got the win. It's actually Pia's first event as a World 9-Ball Tour pro, Phil.
And the way she approaches the game and the way she looks after Joshua Filler's game, she is thoroughly professional. Yeah, Pia Filler beat Chris Watanawana 9 racks to 5.
You can't blame Mohammad Soufi for taking a timeout. Sam Henderson is just across the halfway mark in this match. He's played a good set, to be fair. It's been helped, it's been highlighted because Soufi's been poor, real poor. But there's nothing Sam Henderson can do. He's just had to mop up the pieces.
And there's a real youth movement in pool at the moment, and here today, Claudio Cacci, the younger brother of Eklund Cacci, defeating Dennis Grabber, a very experienced Estonian player, 9-5 earlier. Kopin-Yi, after a slightly concerning start, came good in the end. He beat So Shaw 9-4. And Kopin-Yi's brother, Koping Chung, he was 5-1 down to Mikhail Ogod. Now it's 5-4. Win Antoine, 6-4 up on Jeremy Sosi. These are all in second round matches on the winner's side. And Thomas Brabin, we know him as Anthony, on the hill against Max Lechner at 8-5, and Victor Zielinski also on the hill against Phil Burford, 8-6. Lucas Fracasso Werner in total command against Sullivan Clark, 7-1. Just a reminder, all matches at the moment on the winner's side are a race to 9. If you're on the one-loss side, it's a race to 8. While we're awaiting the match to resume, we can give you some live scores. It really is busy around this arena. Jonas Suter Camino, who was magical in Mexico, winning the Mexico Open, 6-5 up on Tom Stavely now. Sioa 6-0 on the one-loss side against Paul Taylor. Petra Urban, he's 5-4 up on Aidan Finch, again on the one-loss side. It really is a marathon encounter between Babkan Melkonyan and Abdullah Al Yusuf. 8-7 to Melkonyan. Melkonyan from Romania. And he's the antithesis, isn't he? The complete opposite of Mohammad Soufi. He takes his time on virtually every single shot. He was involved in a grueling battle with our own Jeremy Jones earlier today, and he came through that, and now he's one up with 2 to play against Al Yusuf. The winner of that, by the way, in winners qualification, will play the winner of the match we're watching currently.
There you can see the trophy. That is what is on offer this week.
Hot off the presses, Abdullah Al Yusuf and Melkonyan will battle on some more. They've gone hill. Mario He, 8-2 up on George Antonakis. On the one-loss side, Kevin Simpson 5-1 over Phil Wildman. Imran Majid has fought back nicely against Ko Pin-Han. It's 5-5. And on the winner's side, Clint Janssen, he's going really nicely against Francesco Candela of Italy. Candela has had some really good results on the World 9-Ball Tour. But Janssen is only 3 racks away from making it into winners qualification. Soufi's back in the building, in the room, in the arena. So we can get on with this. Don't think it was a bad idea, though, considering the way the last few racks have gone, Carl, for him to pop outside and gather his thoughts.
Yeah, very smart move, smart play. This match is not over by any stretch. But one thing we know, Soufi's got to stop missing balls over the pocket. he's up against it because Henderson, the young 17-year-old, breaks so good.
If a truly world-class American player could emerge, someone like Henderson, it would completely change the Mosconi Cup dynamic, wouldn't it? In all sports, in Q sports, you see it all the time. Players with bundles of ability. But when they're in the spotlight, they freeze. They don't have the necessary temperament to be able to exploit their ability. It seems to me as though Sam Henderson is relishing being centre stage.
Yeah, why not? Why not indeed? He's got the pool world at his feet. To be just 17 years of age and one of the best youths in America. He knows what's happening on the World 9-Ball Tour and what's trying to be achieved. A fully global professional tour. Well, I'd be playing with a spring in my step as well.
No obvious obstacles here. Apart from the tightness of the pockets, it was only the pace that allowed that to drop in.
Sure, you can put a little extension on the back of the cue. A few big balls coming up here in this match. 6-2 or 5-3 is a big difference.
Michael McMullen and Jeremy Jones will be commentating on the next match here on table 1.
Further up centre of table was the desired plan, but often players can do this where you just slightly pull out the shot. So now he's left with a bit of distance, and it looks like the cue ball has to crash into the 8-ball, so he'll either go forward with it or try and come back for the 8 in the same pocket. Well, he could miss it. That is incredible. I was looking at a little screen me and Phil have here in the overhead. I was convinced he had to flick the 8-ball there. I was watching the 8-ball. It was going far jaw all the way. And he's plumb on the 9-ball.
It's quite apparent he's the real deal. Sam Henderson, 6-2 up. You know, one of my favourite movies was filmed in Iowa, Field of Dreams. And being a World 9-Ball Tour player, that's a dream opportunity for Sam Henderson, one he's clearly going to take with both hands. The experience of travelling around the world, coming up against the planet's best, that for him sounds like nirvana. Is this heaven? No, it's Iowa. That's where Sam is from, and he's proud to be so. The other great line, of course, from that movie, Carl. Build it, and they will come.
I feel I can't think straight at the minute. I've got a match soon. Throwing all this at me. I don't think I've seen that film. Is that bad?
You must see it. It is absolutely terrific. I must have seen it 5 times, and every time at the end I cry.
Field of Dreams.
Kevin Costa.
Well, talking about dreams, it's another successful break. Can play the combo, 2 onto the brown 7 here.
Mohammad Soufi must feel like crying at the moment. This is not what he signed up for.
Just trying to pick out a point in the distance where he wants to play the 2-7 combo. He needs to control the 2 ball as well. That's not bad. I say it's not bad because he can cut the 2 in, but the 4 and the 9 is blocking the pink 4 into bottom left corner. I think he'll play the pot, but he actually doesn't need to. He could try and draw in behind the 8, flinging the 2 ball round the table. But the kid's feeling good. This needs to travel though. He needs a favourable bump. I think he's going to get it. Is he going to get it?
Game of fractions, as they say. On this occasion, have the fractions worked in his favour? Hard to read, isn't he? The body language rather confusing at times.
If it does go, it might go off the left jaw. Well, he's given us no indication at all that that 4 ball went. That is crazy. 99% of pros on tour would have maybe like sighed a bit of relief or held the hand up. He made it look as like it didn't go. Yeah, he rushed that one because he just left himself a little awkward. Awkward because of the 9 ball. You've got to get your cue over the 9. Your hand feels like it's in the way a little bit. But if you can just rip it past the 9 for a shot on the 8. I think he's hooked himself. Didn't hit the cue ball how he wanted. Look at all the space at the bottom of the table.
But as you say, that mistake can be traced back to the shot before it, where he definitely rushed. And that's something you'll learn as the weeks and the months go on. At this level, you cannot give your opponent any kind of free pass. When you're in command, you need to stay there.
Kick and stick, leave the cue ball there. Send the 8 up table. Wanted centre of the rail, so it was just a little bit over hit, but well, 6-2 down. Missed 10 balls. How difficult is this 8 ball? You could forgive him for playing safe off it, chip it thin. Don't play the pot. Ah, that was a good one. His back's against the wall and he's come with a good one.
It seemed to stay up for a split second and then decided to drop. That was a rack that Sam Henderson should have tucked under his belt. Not the case, though. And Mohammad Soufi, who can go on one of these incredible runs, has won a rack he so badly needed Henderson's lead reduced to 6-3. We do know now who the winner of this will play next. It will be Abdullah Al Yusuf, who, after being 8-7 down against Babkan Melkonyan, won the last 2 racks to win 9-8. Gutsy performance, that. Koping Han back in front against Imran Majid at 6-5. Naoki Oi's taking the first from Do Tae Kien. Nguyen An Tuan of Vietnam, 7-4 up on Jeremy Sosi. And now Koping Chung has won 5 consecutive racks after being 5-1 down to Mikhail Oagard. He's 6-5 up.
Well, you feel like he's got to work at this comeback. It would be quite harsh for Sam Henderson if Soufi had 3 or 4 easy layouts on the table just because he's played so bad. I feel like he's got to work it, play some good kick shots and safeties and kind of fight his way back. Here comes the push out. Bottom left of the corner is where he's going.
Another result for you. Hugely talented individual from Poland, Viktor Zielinski. He's defeated Phil Burford 9-7. Lucas Fracasso Werner, a 9-1 winner over Sullivan Clark.
Didn't quite hit the 2 where he wanted, so he's left another long pot. Got to play this ball, got to attack it. 3 ball goes in the same pocket as this 2 ball. You've got to pot it, you've got to get close. The only thing that's close is the cue ball is in the pocket.
And look at the table call. No hint of a cluster. They're all there.
Whenever you make a mistake, like the previous rack where Sam hooked himself on the 8 ball and lost, rack number 9, you would always love to have Paul in hand in the very next rack. And that's what he's got. Well, well, well. That is the first real sign of a real big moment in this match, where it's let Soufi in through a relatively easy shot, and a shot where he's been knocking the balls in.
Neither player wants to go to the one-loss side of the draw for obvious reasons, especially when you consider their next opponent probably will be Konrad Jezushin of Poland. Tough assignment, that.
He's a little steep on this 7. If you look where the 8 ball is, Phil, he's got a bit of work to do here. He's not out yet. He's got to play a good positional shot. This lacks pace. Well, maybe he was playing for the 8 in the same pocket, but I thought he was trying to come past it. Boy, this is tough. Oh, it looks good. Looks good. Showed a lot of bottle there, Soufi. Delicately rolling the 8.
The misplayed position in rack 9, the missed pot in rack 10. Will they be ultimately the downfall of Sam Henderson? Long way to go before we can say that, but he was 6-2 in front, in charge. Now it's 6-4, and Soufi might well be on one of those excellent rolls that he puts together where he can breeze through a whole succession of racks in no time. Imran Majid and Koping Han are involved in a real tussle. 6-6 when Antoine 7-5 over Jeremy Sosi. Koping Chung now seems to have a handle on his match on table 25 against Mikael Ågaard. He's won 6 consecutive racks to lead 7-5. Jonas Suter Camino edging in front against Tom Staveley at 7-6. Antonis Brabin on the hill against Max Lechner, now 8-7, tightening up over there.
Feels like a lifetime ago since we've seen this break, and it's a good break. Doesn't look the best of outcomes though. Julian Roper is the referee there, just taking the template off the table. It's a quick fix with the old ball marker. Made his debut on Sky Sports at the Masters, Phil, and on the first day I was speaking to him at lunch, he was very nervous. Obviously I didn't help that. I was telling him, don't drop the cue ball, don't do this.
You won't find anyone more enthusiastic than him. I can think of a lot better people to have lunch with before you make your TV debut than you, though, Cole. I was going to say you're mischievous, but it's far worse than that. Irreverent.
This match has had some twists and turns. The young man in the screens, he's played a very solid set indeed. But that last opportunity on the pink 4 has just turned this match on its head, so this rack now is huge. 2 rails welded onto the pink.
What I like about his tactical game, when he's needed to play shots like this, he's kept it simple, not overthought.
You will expect to hit this full. You'll be disappointed with the outcome, but Sam's still got to play a good shot to get on the red 3 by the looks of it. Well, looking at that angle, he can just float past the 3 ball in between the green 6 and the 9. Play for the 3 in the same pocket. Oh, he's put another miss in. They've just started to creep in at the end of this set.
We've seen lots of intriguing pool today. I think this match is the most intriguing of the lot. Peaks and troughs for both players.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was a brilliant shot that he just played to soft draw the cue ball back to exactly that spot. What a delightful shot. And this is what will happen. He'll smell blood. He'll start to grow in confidence.
While the cue ball's cleaned, I can tell you Anthony Brabin has beaten Max Lechner 9-7. What a win that is.
First half of the match, Soufi was missing some easy balls, Becky some easy mistakes. That give young Sam the lead, but the latter stages of this match, just a couple of mistakes have creeped in, and that's why it's 6-5 now to Henderson.
Yes, you can trace the turnaround back to the 9th rack. Henderson should have gone 7-2 ahead. He played a poor positional shot, hooked himself on the 8. Soufi knocked in a couple of really important pots. And then in the next couple of racks, Henderson responsible for a bad miss in both of them. That's why Soufi's back only one behind at 6-5. Good stuff. So after your victory over Konrad Uzhushin earlier on, Carl, I think it's best if you leave now and get well prepared for your next contest, because I can be joined in the commentary box by my baseball buddy. We can both wallow in a sea of self-pity after our teams have started the season so badly. Here's Jeremy Jones.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. And a little thought of the baseball makes the 9-ball a little more forgettable from this morning, but all good here at the UK Open. What a match this is turning into here with Soufi and Henderson.
So what do you know about Sam?
Well, got to see him play many times. Young kid from Iowa, definitely, I think, an upcoming superstar in our games. You know, never know, of course, when he's turning the corner more and more, and I think you're seeing a little bit of that here. I think just one mistake, big mistake, getting snookered on the 8 earlier to go up 7-2, maybe it was.
Yes, it all came from, he potted a 6 to the centre pocket a little too quickly. I think he became overexcited when he realised the rack was at his mercy. Too quick on that shot, then he had a tough positional shot next. That's when he hooked himself. And now the match has got to be won all over again.
Yeah, absolutely. And a guy that jumps the ball really well, so I assume maybe a jump shot coming. I say a guy, pretty much a kid, really.
So how were you at the age of 17 with the pool? Were you as far advanced down the road as he is?
Actually, that's when I started playing 17, which was really late compared to most that play professionally, but that's when I got it all kicked off, my junior year in high school. Didn't even imagine you could even play pool for a living or anything else, just getting wind of things. Good effort there. Now Soufi totally snookered here, I believe, on the 1. Who always comes up with all kinds of crazy shots, it seems. Doesn't want too much swerve on this. Could get underneath it and scratch. I think we have a nice one coming up next as well, right? Kachi and Delgado.
Yeah, some really good matchups early on in the tournament. I can tell you Austria's Mario He threw comfortably against George Antonakis 9-2. Oh dear me, it's been a match of scratching on a regular basis for Mohammad Soufi.
Yeah, and I talked about it right when he kind of addressed the shot. Really can't afford too much swerve or speed. That corner pocket definitely open for a scratch. And I'll tell you, after a few unsettled racks for Sam, you got to love the way these lay to get back on the board, trying to get to that 7th game.
Speaking generally here, rather than specifically, Jeremy, the experience he's going to gain playing on the World 9-Ball Tour, given his tender years, will be invaluable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's really the changing point for any player once they've achieved certain levels. And of course the skills are there, and of course the talent, but the next level is really competing with these guys, and occasionally some ladies on the World 9-Ball Tour, but that's what's going to get you better without even knowing it, really. Little awkward stretch here for the right-hander. May have to take some distance on this 5-ball. Love to be able to follow out of here 2 rails. That would be ideal.
No fear there, queuing awkwardly, but still applied the necessary running side.
Going to check his work here. See, he's not going to get dead straight on the 9, but he can spin the ball a bit, let it carry upward towards the 9. Wouldn't overthink it too much. He may come across. Looks like that's kind of what's on his mind. You can see the rails checking nicely for day 1. There's, of course, a little humidity in England, like always, it seems, but very playable tables, even though tough.
In college, there's the team, the Iowa Hawkeyes from Iowa, yeah. And I think Henderson is one of those, famously, of course, recently, until she went to the WNBA. Caitlin Clark played for the Hawkeyes, and she became a heroine throughout that state and indeed throughout the nation. And it's been a slam dunk so far for Henderson. Maybe the highest profile match he's ever played, and barring a few mistakes mid-match, I think he's acquitted himself really well.
Yeah, I mean, didn't get to see all the match, but quite a bit of it for him to build that lead, and then that one mistake, big mistake, to let Soufi kind of back in it. But yeah, probably the biggest match he's played, especially to start the season for him on the World 9-Ball Tour.
Yeah, Soufi has played a loose match. He's been error prone, there's no doubt about that. But even so, Henderson's done a lot of good things. And of course, now he gets to break again.
Looks like the 2 ball is going to come open. Decent break off. Not the most action on the balls that we've seen. Really nothing too much threatening down table besides the one which did hit the middle pocket. But when you do come away with a shot, and a decent one it is, you're going to have somewhat short cue ball movement maybe through this rack to get to the hill. And really all about this first shot, not so much making it feel, just gaining position on the red 3. And you can see the pink, the purple, the green 6 are near, the 7, 8, 9 on the bottom.
I like his rhythm. He's not too hurried, certainly not too meticulous or pedestrian.
Yeah, what I always like about Sam is keeps it pretty simple overall. Knows how to work the cue ball and whatnot, but just really gets down to pocketing balls.
In any sport, it's always good to see authentic young talent coming through. And Poole is no exception. I was saying before you arrived, Jeremy, that the USA has been crying out for a new superstar for quite some time now. Maybe Sam Henderson is the man to fill the breach.
Well, if you just want to take some interesting notes, again, this is our first big open of the year, and I think Sam is scheduled to play pretty much all of them. So I'd love to pay attention to where his game's at later on this year when the season ends.
Here he is 3 up with a possible 4 to play. Mohammad Soufi, 15 months on from almost shocking the pool world by winning the World 9-Ball Championship. He came up just short against Francisco Sanchez Ruiz in Poland. Well, 15 months later, he's now in danger of defeat by a very talented teenager. Naoki Oi, he's 3-0 up on Do Tae Kien. Imran Majid has gone in front again against Ko Ping Han at 7-6. These are all second round winners side matches. Wen Antoine 8-7 now over Jeremy Sosi, and it's 7 racks on the bounce for Ko Ping Chung after falling 5-1 down against Mikael Oegaard. Ko's on the hill at 8-5. Yonosuke Kamino and Tom Stavely 7-7. Daniel Guttenberger 7-6 up on Che Chia-Chin. And that's the very latest from this round.
Better connection there. Got a few balls up the table. Got a good look at the 2. It's not easy by any means, but definitely playable. He will attack. Confident stroke there that helped get that ball down. Caught it a little heavy to the pocket. Now Tester on the red 3. He's got a big opening in the middle of the table though to play for the pink. So again, about getting a big ball down to maybe set himself up to end this match.
That could have been the linchpin shot.
Yeah, and you can tell didn't miss by much. Just caught that left knuckle coming in, and they're not going to stand. Just imagine this is day one. These pockets are only going to get more difficult. Nice touch there from Soufi, shown us that a couple times in the last few racks. He's got to get proper on the brown 7. It's not saying the black 8 doesn't play to the lower left, but the lower right is where you want to be. Ooh, this one kind of boinged a little off the rail. A heavy bounce now over the 8-9 queuing with an off angle on the brown 7. This isn't getting much easier. Wow, elevating here. Just super talented, this guy. Watch out.
They go in like a flash, don't they? One of the quickest players you're ever likely to see. When he's on, he's a joy to behold. It's not been the case in this match. He has, yes, produced the odd glimpse of sheer brilliance. He's also missed quite a lot of balls, but not in rack 14. Henderson will have to wait for victory at the very least. It's now 8-6. Some people say, not just about Mohammad Soufi, but about any player in Q Sports who is really quick. They say, well, why don't you just slow down and become a little more dependable? I think with certain players, if they slowed down, their game would deteriorate. That's the only way they know how.
Yeah, and I was going to say maybe taking a hair extra, moment before he gets down on the ball compared to what I've seen before, but it's not going to be much for Soufi, and I think it would take a long time for him to change, maybe where some it takes a month, 2 months to get used to a little different routine. I think it may take him quite a bit longer, especially under the heat.
Joshua Filler, after a bye in the first round, he's started his campaign over on table 19 against Arfan Dad, and Filler leads 1-0.
Yeah, it looks like a triple combination is playable. We may have to cut the one a bit, so, but I think it's definitely something he'll shoot at.
I think that's one of the intimidating things about a player who goes about his business so swiftly. Soufi, yes, he's 2 down. He could be shaking hands a winner in 10 minutes, maybe even less than that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got a little bit of a sticky one here, a bit thin. Good thing he can run the cue ball. I like just straight high ball, kind of going 2 rails at the pink or maybe at the blue. I think if he spins it, he could get in trouble with the cue ball and maybe even make a missable ball out of this one. Yeah, I like just the natural path here. That's what he's kind of looking at.
Backing away, let me tell you, when Antoine has beaten Jeremy Soucy 9-7.
He's overcut this. Yeah, tried to play it easy. Didn't want to check the cue ball going back and forth. Got back up off that ball, something you rarely see from Soufi, but yeah, it was always an overcut to the left knuckle. So now young Sam Henderson with a chance.
We must reiterate, if Soufi were to be beaten here, he wouldn't be out of the tournament. It's double elimination in the early stages, but it would be a real setback. Can the youngster hold himself together?
Yeah, kind of fell near the rail for no real reason. Now without elevating, he's gonna maybe have to go forward and take a tough one on the 6, and you can see where the 9's at. So 6 pretty important to get not too thin, not a very missable ball, but I believe that's going to be the case with some distance between. Main thing is don't take your eye off the pink. Confident stroke there.
This is it, to claim a notable scalp. Never in doubt, that 9 ball. What a performance. He wobbled a little in mid-match, but early on and towards the end, Sam Henderson showed us exactly why he's regarded as such an authentic prospect. He defeats Mohammad Soufi by 9 racks to 6 and remains on the winner's side.
I'd have loved to have seen America versus the Philippines, Europe versus the Philippines.
And I think there will be the winner of the Moscone against Asia or against the Philippines at some stage. There's a different tournament.
There's definitely something on another event to do with Asia versus the Moscone Cup winner, and that's all part of the bigger plan.
Plenty of perspiration. Now we're seeing inspiration.
Listen to the noise. This is to tie the match up.
It all would have been there for him.
My
word! He's got it! And for me, the shock of the tournament. Magnificent, marvellous, magical.
Welcome back to the opening day of the Bet Victor UK Open, third staging of this event. First time it's been